That guy down the street with the pristine Mustang II? He thinks he's sitting on a gold mine. Reality check, it's a Pinto with a pony badge, and it's worth about as much. Today, we're ranking 15 pony cars from bad to absolutely terrible. Some disappointed a generation, others never had a chance. These are the pony cars that'll leave you stranded, both financially and literally. Number 15, Chevrolet Camaro Z28, 1979 to 1981. Here's the thing about the 1979 to 81 Z28, it's actually the best of a bad bunch, which tells you everything about this list. These late second-gen Camaros came with a 350 V8, making around 190 horsepower, which sounds pathetic until you remember what else was available in 1979. The Z28 at least tried to be a real pony car with upgraded suspension, fatter sway bars, and those iconic hockey stick stripes. Problem is, it weighs 3,500 pounds, and that emissions strangled 350 wheezes like your uncle after climbing stairs. Parts are getting expensive because these are becoming collectible, and rust is attacking every single one that spent time in the snow belt. The T-tops leak, the digital dashboards fail, and finding one that hasn't been molested by 3 generations of teenage drivers is nearly impossible. Values are climbing, but you're still looking at 15 to 20 grand for a decent driver. And that's real money for a car that gets walked by a modern V6 Accord. If you must have a late Malaise-era pony car, this is your least worst option. Number 14, Mercury Cougar XR7, 302 V8, 1977 to 1979. The late 70s. Cougar XR7 was Mercury's attempt to keep the personal luxury pony car dream alive when everything else was dying. These boats came with a 302 Windsor, making about 130 horsepower, which had to motivate nearly 4,000 pounds of vinyl roof and opera windows. They're not quick, they're not nimble, but they've got a certain disco-era charm that appeals to guys who remember when gas stations gave away steak knives. The XR7 package added plush velour seats, fake wood trim, and enough chrome to blind oncoming traffic. These cars rust in the rear quarters and around the rear window. The emissions equipment is a nightmare of vacuum lines that nobody understands anymore, and parts are disappearing fast because Mercury's been dead for years. The hidden headlight mechanisms fail and cost a fortune to repair, and the dashboards crack if you park in the sun. Values are soft because younger collectors don't understand the appeal, and older guys are downsizing their collections. Clean examples struggle to break 12 grand, and that's if the vinyl top isn't rotting and leaking water into the interior. Number 13, Ford Mustang SVO, 1984 to 1986. Now here's a pony car that confused the hell out of everyone when it was new. Ford took the Fox body Mustang and stuck a turbocharged 2.3-liter 4-cylinder under the hood instead of a V8. Mustang guys hated it, import guys didn't trust it, and it died after 3 years. The SVO made 175 horsepower, which was actually competitive with the 5.0 of the era, and it handled better than any Mustang before it thanks to adjustable Coney shocks and bigger brakes. Problem is that Turbo 4 is a maintenance nightmare. The boost controllers fail, the intercoolers leak, and finding someone who knows how to tune these things properly is like finding an honest politician. Parts are getting scarce because Ford only made about 9,800 of them, and values are all over the map. Nice examples bring 25 grand from collectors who appreciate the engineering, but project cars sit unsold at 10. The biplane rear wing looks ridiculous. The interior is typical 80s Ford garbage, and you'll spend your life explaining to people why your Mustang doesn't have a V8. Number 12. AMC Javelin AMX, 1971 to 1974. AMC's Javelin AMX was supposed to compete with the Camaro and Mustang, and with a V8, it actually could. But most left the factory with the base 232 or 258 inline-6, making around 100 horsepower. These engines are tough as nails and will run forever on regular gas and neglect, but they won't get you anywhere in a hurry. The Javelin styling is fantastic, all swoopy lines and aggressive stance, which makes the wheezy six-cylinder even more disappointing when you punch the gas and nothing happens. These cars rust like it's their job, attacking the rear wheel wells, floor pans, and around the windshield with equal enthusiasm. Parts are nearly impossible to find because AMC died in 1987 and nobody's making reproductions of the trim pieces and interior bits. The 3-speed automatics that came with most sixes are agricultural and rob what little power the engine makes. Values are low because collectors want V8 AMX models or nothing, leaving these 6-cylinder cars in limbo. Clean examples might bring 12 grand from AMC fanatics, but most are worth half that, and you'll spend years hunting for parts when something breaks. Number 11. Mercury Capri, 1970 to 1974. Mercury's attempt at a European-style pony car was the Capri, which was actually built in Germany by Ford and shipped over. These little coupes came with a 170 or 200 cubic inch inline-six, making around 100 horsepower, which sounds terrible until you remember they only weigh 2,500 pounds. They handle pretty well, get decent gas mileage, and have a certain 70s Euro charm. Problem is, they rust worse than British cars because German steel and American salt are natural enemies. The rear shock towers rot out, the rockers dissolve, and the floor pans turn into Swiss cheese. Parts are expensive because you're dealing with a foreign car that was only sold here for a few years, and finding a mechanic who's worked on one is nearly impossible. The V6 versions are slightly better, but even those are underpowered compared to a base Mustang. Values are stuck around 8 to 10 grand for decent examples, and that's if you can find one that hasn't been turned into a pile of rust. These cars are fun to drive when they're running, but keeping them running is a full-time job. Number 10. Chevrolet Camaro V6 1993 to 2002. The 4th-gen Camaro V6 is one of those cars that looks way faster than it actually is. That sleek body and pop-up headlights promise performance, but the 3.4 or 3.8-liter V6 delivers a whopping 160 to 200 horsepower depending on year. Sure, it's rear-wheel drive with a decent chassis, but you're still struggling to break 15 seconds in the quarter mile. These cars have their fans because they're cheaper to insure than the V8, get better gas mileage, and can be modified. But let's be honest, every stoplight becomes an embarrassment when a minivan gaps you. The interiors are typical 90s GM plastic fantastic, meaning everything rattles and squeaks after 50,000 miles. The dashboards crack, the door panels warp, and good luck finding interior trim pieces that aren't sun-faded or broken. The biggest issue is the stigma. Show up to a car meet in a V6 4th Gen and prepare for the Snickers. Values are in the basement because everyone wants the LS1 or nothing, leaving these V6 cars worth maybe 5 to 8 grand for clean examples. Parts are readily available, but why spend money making a V6 Camaro fast when you could have bought the V8 to begin with? Number 9. Ford Mustang EcoBoost 2015 to present. Ford's turbocharged 4-cylinder Mustang was supposed to attract a new generation of buyers who cared about fuel economy and modern technology. The 2.3-liter EcoBoost makes 310 horsepower, which is respectable, and it actually handles better than the GT because it's lighter in the nose. Problem is, you're driving a Mustang without the V8 rumble, and that's like eating sugar-free cake. It might technically be cake, but something's missing. These cars appeal to people who want to look like they drive a Mustang without paying for premium gas, but the enthusiast community treats them like red-headed stepchildren. The Turbo 4 doesn't sound good, the exhaust note is weak even with aftermarket pipes, and the stigma is real. Resale values take a beating because everyone shopping used wants the GT, leaving EcoBoost owners underwater on their loans. Reliability has been okay, but the turbos are starting to fail on higher mileage examples, and replacement isn't cheap. Parts are available, and the aftermarket supports them, but you're modifying a car that most Mustang guys won't respect. If you wanted a fuel-efficient sporty car, you should have bought a Miata and kept your dignity. Number 8. Chevrolet Camaro 2.0-liter Turbo, 2016 to 2018. Chevy looked at Ford's EcoBoost Mustang and said, "Hold my beer." The result was a 6th-gen Camaro with a turbocharged 2.0-liter four-cylinder making 275 horsepower. It's lighter than the V6, handles sharper than anything else in the lineup, and gets decent gas mileage. But here's the problem. You bought a Camaro with a four-cylinder. Your grandfather is rolling in his grave, and your neighbors think you're broke. The 2.0T actually makes good power for what it is, and the 8-speed automatic is excellent, but that doesn't change the fact that you're explaining your choices at every gas station. The aftermarket barely supports these because nobody's proud enough of their four-cylinder Camaro to mod it. Resale values are terrible because everyone wants the V8 or the V6 at minimum, and insurance companies don't give you much of a break anyway. The turbo lag is noticeable, the exhaust note is pathetic even with aftermarket help, and parking it next to a real muscle car is an exercise in embarrassment. Clean examples are worth maybe 20 grand, which is 10 less than a comparable V8, and that gap will only widen. Parts are available but expensive because it's a modern car, and when the turbo fails, you're looking at thousands in repairs. Before we get to the really rough ones, help me out here. Smash that like button if you're learning something, drop a comment telling me which of these you've owned or seen rusting in a driveway, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Trust me, the bottom half of this list gets painful. Now let's keep going. Number 7. Ford Mustang 2011 to 2014 V6 base. The 2011 to 14 Mustang V6 was Ford's attempt to make the base model respectable with their new 3.7-liter, making 305 horsepower. That's more power than the V8 made just 10 years earlier, which sounds impressive until you drive one. These cars are heavy, pushing 3,500 pounds, and that V6 has to work hard to move all that mass. They're slower than the numbers suggest. The exhaust note is weak and raspy, and everyone knows you cheaped out on the GT. The interiors are better than the previous generation, but still feel rental car grade, with hard plastics and cheap cloth seats that stain if you look at them wrong. Reliability is decent, but the manual transmissions have synchro issues, and the automatics aren't much better. The biggest problem is perception. Pull up in a V6 Mustang, and people assume you're having financial troubles or going through a midlife crisis on a budget. Values have tanked because the used market is flooded with them. Rental companies bought thousands, and everyone shopping wants the Coyote V8. Clean examples bring maybe 12 to 15 grand, which is cheap car money for a car that's trying to be special, but isn't. Number 6. Chevrolet Camaro 2.5-liter Line 4, 1982 to 1992. The Iron Duke four-cylinder Camaro is proof that GM had completely lost the plot by the early 80s. This pushrod 2.5-liter engine made between 88 and 98 horsepower depending on year, which had to motivate a 3,200-pound car. You could literally time 0 to 60 with a calendar. These Camaros were bought by people who wanted to look like they drove a muscle car without paying muscle car insurance or gas prices. And the result was one of the saddest chapters in pony car history. The Iron Duke is tough and reliable. It'll run forever on nothing, but it makes the Camaro feel like a penalty box. The engine sounds like a tractor, vibrates like a paint mixer, and delivers performance that would embarrass a modern Corolla. Parts for the four-cylinder drivetrain are getting scarce because nobody saved these things, and values are underwater. Clean examples might bring 5 grand from someone who needs an 80s movie prop, but most are worth scrap value. The only reason these still exist is because third-gen Camaro bodies are good for V8 swaps, which tells you everything. If someone offers you a 4-cylinder 3rd gen, ask yourself why they haven't already swapped it and walk away. Number 5. Ford Mustang 2.3-liter 4-cylinder, 1987 to 1993. The Fox body 4-cylinder Mustang is what you bought when you wanted a Mustang but couldn't afford the 5.0. The 2.3-liter Lima 4 made between 88 and 105 horsepower, depending on year and configuration, which is pathetic even by late 80s standards. These cars are reliable, parts are everywhere because Ford made millions of them, and the chassis is actually pretty good, but none of that changes the fact that you're driving the slowest Mustang ever made. The 4-cylinder sounds terrible, feels even worse, and makes you look like you're trying to relive your glory days on a fixed income. The Fox body is legendary for the 5.0 V8, which makes the 4-cylinder versions even sadder by comparison. Every time you see a real Mustang GT blow past you, you're reminded of the mistake you made. Values are in the toilet because nobody wants them. Clean examples bring maybe $3 to $5 grand, and even at that price, they sit unsold for months. The only people buying these are high school kids who can't afford insurance on a V8, or guys who plan to swap them, which means yours will compete with free cars on Craigslist. Do yourself a favor and save up for something with at least 6 cylinders. Number 4. Plymouth Barracuda, 1964 to 1966. The first-generation Barracuda was Plymouth's answer to the Mustang, and with the slant 6, it was DOO. That legendary 225 cubic inch inline 6 made 145 horsepower on a good day, which had to push around 2,900 pounds of weird fastback styling. The engine is bulletproof and will run until the sun explodes, but it won't get you anywhere fast. These early Barracudas have their fans because the styling is quirky and they're cheaper than the later E-body cars. But let's be real, you're driving a Valiant with a bigger rear window. The 6-cylinder versions rust in all the usual Mopar places. Parts are scarce because nobody reproduces first-gen Barracuda trim, and values are stuck because collectors want the later models or V8 versions. The interiors are cheap even by 60s standards, the handling is soft and wallowy, and the brakes are terrifying by modern standards. These cars represent what happens when a company rushes a car to market to compete with a hit, then realizes they should have spent more time on development. Clean examples might bring 15 grand from Mopar completists, but most are worth half that. If you want a Barracuda, save your money for a 70 to 74 E-body, or at least get one with a V8. Number 3. Ford Mustang SN95 V6 convertible, 1994 to 2004. Here's a car that combines all the worst elements of pony car ownership: a weak engine, a floppy chassis, and the stigma of being a secretary's car. The SN95 V6 convertible came with a 3.8-liter V6, making 150 to 193 horsepower depending on year. Which sounds okay until you factor in the 3,400-pound curb weight and the chassis flex from cutting the roof off. These cars are slow, they handle like a waterbed on wheels, and the cowl shake is so bad you can watch the hood move at stoplights. The convertible top mechanisms fail constantly, the rear windows crack and separate, and the interiors are typical mid-90s Ford cheapness with hard plastics and cloth that stains instantly. These were hugely popular with rental companies and older women who wanted to feel young again, which means the used market is flooded and values are basement level. Clean examples struggle to break 8 grand, and even at that price, you're overpaying. The V6 sounds terrible. The exhaust note is embarrassing, and every V8 Mustang owner on the road knows you settled. Insurance is cheap and parts are everywhere, but that doesn't make it worth owning. If you want a convertible pony car, save up for a V8 or buy literally anything else. Number 2. Dodge Challenger 2.6-liter Mitsubishi, 1978 to 1983. This isn't a real Challenger, it's a Mitsubishi with a Dodge badge, and it's one of the saddest chapters in Mopar history. Chrysler was broke in the late 70s and needed small cars fast, so they rebadged the Mitsubishi Galant Lambda and called it a Challenger. The 2.6-liter silent shaft four-cylinder made 105 horsepower, which sounds weak until you remember this car weighed 2,800 pounds and handled like a shopping cart with a broken wheel. These cars have zero connection to the legendary E-body Challengers from 1970 to 74. They rust faster than Italian cars, and parts are impossible to find because nobody in America worked on them. The build quality was terrible even when new. The interiors fell apart instantly, and the reliability was so bad that Dodge dealers refused to stock parts. Some wore Hemi badges as a cruel joke, referring to the hemispherical combustion chambers in the Mitsubishi engine, which only made real Mopar fans angrier. Values are non-existent because nobody wants them. Clean examples might bring $3,000 from confused collectors, and most are worth whatever the scrapyard pays. If someone tries to sell you one claiming it's a rare Challenger, they're either ignorant or lying. Run away and never look back. Number 1. Ford Mustang II, 1974 to 1978. Here it is, folks, the absolute bottom of the pony car barrel, the car that nearly killed the Mustang name forever. The Mustang II was Ford's panic response to the gas crisis, and they did it by sticking a Mustang badge on a Pinto platform. The base four-cylinder made 88 horsepower, the V6 option managed 105, and the V8 that arrived in 75 was a 302 strangled down to 140 horsepower. These cars are slow, cramped, cheaply built, and ugly in a way that only the 70s could produce. They rust everywhere simultaneously. The front subframes rot out, the floor pans dissolve, and the Pinto-based suspension wears out faster than sneakers. The interiors are garbage with hard plastics, cheap vinyl, and trim pieces that fall off if you slam the door. The worst part? People are asking real money for clean examples because they're classic Mustangs. They're not. They're Malaise-era mistakes that happen to wear a horse on the grill. Nice Mustang IIs bring 15 to 20 grand from people who don't know better, but they should be $3,000 cars maximum. Parts are available because Ford made nearly 1.1 million of them, but availability doesn't equal desirability. These cars represent everything wrong with American cars in the 70s, and the fact that Ford recovered from this embarrassment is a testament to the 5.0 Fox body that followed. If someone offers you a Mustang II, thank them for their time and go find a real Mustang. There you have it, 15 pony cars that'll drain your wallet and crush your dreams. From badge-engineered imports to Malaise-era disasters, these are the cars that prove not every pony car deserves to gallop. Remember, just because it's got a famous nameplate doesn't mean it's worth your hard-earned money. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next video, and check out what's on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and remember, life's too short to drive slow cars.